Hey AJ, I love sleeping on my back, but lately, I think I've been having a little problem. What's that, BJ? I don't know, it just seems like things are getting a little flat back there. Well, don't worry, we go to sleep on our backs because it could actually save our lives. They say it's the safest way. So don't worry, I'm sure our super daddy will fix it and make your head all better again.
From the day we met, I knew I loved them. I made a vow to protect them, to slow down, to take my time, to think before I act, to make sure that I took everything seriously and made the best decisions to give them the best chance in life. I take my job as a father very seriously. I have tried to be an open sponge, to learn from others and to share as I go. I have tried my best to educate myself and to make educated decisions. Sometimes your best efforts may not yield the best results. Back to sleep saves lives. Studies have shown that as a result, the incidence of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, has more than halved since it was popularized in the 1990s. During the time in the NICU, it was gospel. Every baby was on their back to sleep. AJ and BJ knew no other way to go to sleep. All the nurses were sure to stress the importance as they made their best efforts to educate parents eager to learn how to be the best parents they could be. It was reiterated in the videos and the class on infant care and safety that was required before we were given the green light to take our babies home. I felt well prepared, well equipped, and albeit a little nervous, ready for the challenge of providing the same grade of care provided in the NICU. I wish someone would have told me about plagiocephaly. Why was the word so foreign when I encountered it? It sounded so unfamiliar, to the point where the sound stung and scraped my mouth as it rolled off my tongue. My tongue, which was heavy with doubt about how it should even be pronounced. Plagiocephaly, plagiocephaly. Etymology, plagio, meaning flat. Cephaly, meaning the head. Flat head, flat head, flat head. I first googled the words baby, flat, and head when my new nanny with her trained eye with decades of experience confirmed a sinking discomfort that I carried in the deep recesses of my mind. Something was not right with BJ. I noticed a few weeks before that it seemed that his head had become flat on one side. What she noticed, however, that his face looked puffier on one side than the other. His face was asymmetrical. Immediately, I made a connection between both observations, and sure enough, flathead syndrome, or plagiocephaly, was a thing. Invariably, search result after search result, plagiocephaly, or flathead syndrome, was as a result of lying a baby in a supine position on their back to sleep too much. It's something that can be prevented and even treated uninvasively, only if you know what it is and how it occurs. This was my great disadvantage. I did not know about the causality between back to sleep and plagiocephaly, and now my baby has a flat head. The guilt, the shame, the embarrassment are things that I grappled with. I struggled with whether to talk about this or to share it at all. I decided it's best to share my story as it may very well help another parent out there. Plagiocephaly can occur in the womb and can be diagnosed at birth. Its incidence is more common with multiples. It is commonly accompanied by torticollis, which is a condition where the neck has limited mobility. Luckily, plagiocephaly doesn't compromise the development of the brain or limit the development of the child. It can be avoided by repositioning a baby who tends to prefer to sleep on one side of their head. Special pillows like these can be used from birth to prevent the misshapening of the head. Incorporating supervised tummy time and carrying the baby around more frequently to prevent pressure being placed on the head are all effective measures. If only someone mentioned these tips in the same breath as they mentioned the importance of back to sleep. BJ wasn't born with plagiocephaly. I look back at all the newborn photos and videos and I can clearly see that his head was perfectly rounded. This is why when it became flat, it stood out so much to me. It was so gradual that I wasn't quite sure that his head was changing after all. I didn't know that it could change, so I doubted when I saw what was slowly taking place each day right before my very eyes. The good news is if you catch it early, say between 6 months and 12 months, it is quite treatable through the same methods for prevention that I just mentioned. However, there is another treatment which I came across which is quite controversial, very expensive, not typically covered by health insurance, certainly not by mine, and it's only effective if caught between 6 and 18 months. They generally yield no improvement after a child receives 18 months. According to doctors, parents who have used them and the manufacturers, these helmets are quite safe and do not actively reshape the child's head. They rather passively encourage the growth of the soft infant skull to assume a more natural shape in a painless manner. I personally would be willing to give it a try if they didn't cost around $3,000 and require several visits for adjustments to the helmet throughout the course of the treatment. There are no providers of such helmets in Jamaica, so we're left to try repositioning as our remedy. Repositioning is not just repositioning the baby, but it's repositioning everything that the baby is in and that is around the baby to encourage the baby to not lie on the flat spot. So you can reposition the crib, reposition the baby in the crib, feed the baby on the other side if they are bottle fed on one particular side. You can move pictures on the wall so the babies will look in a different direction. You can roll a towel behind the baby to prevent movement to one side. Keeping the pressure off the flat side, in theory, should allow the head to round out naturally as the brain continues to grow. My plan is to try this for 3 to 4 weeks, and if it doesn't seem to get better, then we will have to explore other options. I hope this video will help another parent to be aware of the risk associated with back to sleep, so that they will be able to take the necessary steps to not only ensure that the child goes on their back to sleep, but also so that they don't suffer an unnecessary outcome such as this one. I hope to be back here in a few weeks with an update video showing you the great results from treating this condition naturally.